That's right, it's time to get motivated. Welcome to another edition of Flow of Wisdom Radio. I'm your host, Sean Anthony. We got Rev Michelle Hopkins who's going to be joining us.
This is Rev Michelle Hopkins.
Yeah, welcome back, Flow of Wisdom Radio. I'm your host, Sean Anthony. Rev Michelle Hopkins connected, and I want to welcome her back to Flow of Wisdom Radio. Rev Michelle Hopkins. Is this a little the brink of what's taking place, you know, before a big war to break out?
Well, of course, we have been poking in the eye of Russia for how long now? I mean, every time Putin turns around, our president is kicking him in the shin. Okay? And their president is taking his shirt off and saying, come on, you want some of this?
This is a very serious time. Do you think that this situation in Crimea has a part of a bigger spectrum, you know, or is it just another situation like it was last summer between us and Iran? Do you think this situation with Russia and Crimea will blossom into something bigger?
I do. And what I believe is going to happen is, I believe just as these nation states broke off from Russia, they are going to be reabsorbed into Russia. And it's all part of making money off warmongering by the powers that be until the time, and also it's about that chaos, creating chaos to finally bring us all under that one umbrella of the New World Order, the one world government.
You know, according to the reports that I've heard and read, don't you think the United States would do the same thing that Vladimir Putin and Russia is doing if U.S. citizens were threatened in a particular region and you knew that they had no protection? We would set up shop to protect our interests. You would think, wouldn't you? What do you think about that? Do you think Vladimir Putin is doing what any leader of any country would do to protect their own people in another country?
Well, it's one thing to protect your own people in another country. It's another thing to take over that country, especially when half of that country is against you. Okay? Half of the country is anti-Russia, right, which is why they separated from Russia in the first place. You know, it's a bigger game than that. Okay.
Yeah, but then I ask this question, you know, because you hear one report saying, you know, when John Kerry was overseas or whatever, wherever he was at with his cocky self, stating, you know, that Russian troops are there, and then you hear another report where Vladimir Putin is saying, no, those are not our troops. Russian troops are not there. It's like, Craig, who's lying here? Somebody's lying, you know. So what gives?
Okay, what gives is that the U.S. also has a part in this. Like all of these other countries that have come into chaos, we have provocateurs in all of those countries that are doing psyops and creating this ballooning chaos in all of these other countries. That's our part under the powers that be, under the Illuminati. You know, winner gets Earth.
RT's Anastasia Churkina reports Ukraine is not the first country to go through selective U.S.-backed regime change.
Exporting chaos. Enter the world promoter of the right to self-determination and other high principles, the U.S.
We are long past the days when the international community will stand quietly by while one country forcibly seizes the territory of another.
Incidentally, behind this noble statement is the #1 meddler in internal affairs of other nations.
Middle East is an example. What is known as the Arab Spring is a method of self-destruction, achieving political purposes through having societies destroy themselves.
The country that coined the term regime change, promoting unrest wherever on the globe, serves its interests.
There was no coup in the 150-year-old history of Latin America that the U.S. government did not apply its hand to.
Coincidentally, U.S. participation in events in Ukraine did not begin or end in distributing snacks or friendly gestures of support.
The protesters are reportedly being paid between 15 and 25 euros. The Assistant Secretary of State Victoria Nuland told the National Press Club last December that the U.S. has invested $5 billion in organizing a network to achieve U.S. goals in Ukraine in order to give Ukraine the future it deserves. Now, I guess if she means organizing a network of paid protesters to dismantle the governments that the Ukraine can be looted, like Latvia and Greece, and then Washington can just use the Ukraine to set up bases in order to fight Russia, well, I doubt that that's the future that Ukrainians think they deserve. Now, the average man on the street in Kiev may be fighting for independence from the Russians that have plagued them since Stalin. Against corruption, they may be fighting against crony capitalism, but their leaders are just puppets of the CIA and Western bankers. And unfortunately, what these paid protesters might find when the smoke settles is that the new boss is the same as the old boss.
We've invested over $5 billion to assist Ukraine in these and other goals that will ensure a secure and prosperous and democratic Ukraine.
The West spent $5 billion destabilizing Ukraine. This is something that is a mess that is put on Russia's doorstep by the West.
Before Kiev protests turned into chaos, Russia proposed that Ukraine work with both the EU and Russia. The US had another idea, wanting to see Ukraine as part of its ally, the EU. Agreed to eventually find its way into NATO.
There is no other path that would bring Ukraine back to long-term political stability and economic growth.
A popular joke among Latin American leaders, why will there never be a coup in the U.S.? Because there's no U.S. embassy in Washington. Freedom, sovereignty, and international law are all terms repeated like a mantra by U.S. officials. But with a handful of examples of the U.S. attempting to puppeteer other parts of the world, that joke is not so far from reality.
From Revelation 17. The 10 horns you saw are 10 kings who have not yet received a kingdom, but who for 1 hour will receive authority as kings along with the beast. They have one purpose, and will give their power and authority to the beast. They will wage war against the Lamb, but the Lamb will triumph over them, because he is the Lord of lords and King of kings, and with him will be his called, chosen, and faithful followers.
Wow. Well, what a way to conclude this time with you, Rev. Michelle Hopkins. I definitely appreciate all of your efforts and just continue to do the good work and fight the good fight. So I really appreciate your time, Rev. Michelle.
Thank you so much for having me, Sean. God bless you.
You too.
This is Rev. Michelle Hopkins. Thank you for watching, and God bless you.
Sing with me, and you'll see my heart racing, trembles at his voice. How great is our God? How great, how great.